we've landed. Are we still in all go?
We are go.
We're dropping a secret team of robots into a country that we're not supposed to be in. It got serious the moment was thought up.
Hey!
Stand up! You're all gone, or I'll kill you!
Do it.
These people have seen everything.
Take them all down. No witnesses.
Oh, shit!
We have an ID on him yet?
Sending you a packet.
Special forces, huh? If this guy's a deserter, could be the ultimate field test.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
She's a doctor. They're all doctors. They're here on a good cause mission.
Come on, man. Okay, you're scaring her. You're scaring me.
I'm scared.
Come on! Do it! Fight me like a man, come on! You were made by humans to afflict death! You were made by humans. We're different! I'm a man, I have life! You're a machine!
Now I'm going to tell you something, this isn't exclusive.
And we're all ears, David.
One of the things he said to me that seems really hard to believe, he is the guy who invented the chip that goes into these androids that they have.
Okay, we know where this is going.
The movie The Terminator apparently was based on his technology. We do have 3 battalions of these androids.
Bam, there it is. So, first question, are they operated by people or are they actual AI?
And they do have electronic intelligence. This stuff is why we really need to be careful about artificial intelligence.
So true, my friend.
We have some stuff that looks incredibly awesome, incredibly futuristic. You would think it was alien technology.
And the truth is stranger than fiction.
They've always had disclosure plans in place as a weapon of mass distraction. That's when they dropped the bomb.
All right, here's part 2 with David Wilcock, Dark Technology on the Edge of Wonder.
Edge of Wonder.
I want to get clear with you guys and with the audience about the difference between the intel that I have been leaking faithfully since Pete Peterson started to give me this stuff from high levels back in 2009. Pete Peterson worked at a presidential level advising Ronald Reagan, advising his cabinet on classified technology. He is the guy who invented the chip that goes into these androids that they have. It's an electronic intelligence. It's called the Aquarius. It's contained inside another piece of hardware called the Gatekeeper. His company was called Cyberdyne Systems, and the movie The Terminator apparently was based on his technology. He didn't build the Terminators per se, but he built the brain that goes inside. And it's based on a chip that uses photons in their wave-particle duality form, where you have all these different probable wave states, each of which becomes a circuit and a potential logic gate, as opposed to regular chips that treat electrons as either on or off. In this case, you can have one photon that's multiplexed across multiple thousands of different information channels. And so you have one little chip that could be as powerful as 10,000 desktop computers. And apparently when you get it that powerful, it kind of on its own develops this thing that they on the inside called electronic intelligence. So that's a big bombshell to drop on you guys as well. Remember, in Terminator 2, you have a black scientist who invented the Terminators, basically, and then there's people trying to kill him to save the future because if he lives, then this timeline where all these Terminators appear takes place. So, look, I'm not saying we should kill Pete Peterson. That's just a dramatic device that they created for this movie. But what I am saying is
that you're John Connor.
From what I've heard from Pete, we do have 3 battalions of these androids. They are incredibly convincing looking. You could not tell that they are a robot. They look like a person, and they do have electronic intelligence. So those films, as weird as this sounds, and in fact there's a recent, the latest movie with Kevin Hart in it, and I'm forgetting what the title is right now, but it just came out. I think it's called Night School, and he's got various people in the night school, and one of them is another black guy who in the movie says Terminator is a documentary, and they definitely got that from me, and so I want to give them a high five for working that into the movie in a comedy context.
Let me just say this, okay, while I got the platform. For me, I first got woke when I seen Terminator, and I realized it wasn't just a movie, it was prophecy.
Wow, that's
awesome.
Really interesting. I mean, so these, I don't want to use the word Terminators, but these like robots.
Can we please use the word Terminators? I think we have to now. We owe it to our audience.
Well, if you want to get technical, the actual term that Pete used for them is simulacra. That's what they apparently call them on the inside. You can go with Terminators if you want. I don't really care.
Well, what is it? In the second one, he's a good guy, right?
Yeah.
So it's not so bad, I guess.
John Connor turned him back.
So are these actually just walking around in our society, or are they just like strictly military, doing military operations or warfare?
Strictly military, and actually I can get a lot clearer on this. I forget how many soldiers are in a battalion. I think it might be 4,000 or 5,000. To Pete's knowledge and his briefings, we have 3 battalions of these simulacra, and they are only to be used in case of an alien invasion, which they do think could happen. They actually do have Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. They have very specific ethical guidelines preventing them from turning on the people of this planet. So those simulacra would only be used in a very high-level emergency situation. But there's a lot more to the creative behind what's really going on than what you see in any of the Terminator films. For example, a simulacra is based on a core brain, and I've heard this now from, I guess, 4 or 5 different insiders, that there is a little black box about this big, and it's a cube, okay? And it actually has 2 eyes on it, which are on these little screws. And so the screws can twist and the eyes will either widen or narrow in terms of how far apart they are. So the robot can actually turn its head, take the box out of its own head, its brain, okay, pull it out, and then pop it into another chassis, another body. And some of these bodies are very intimidating looking. They have, for example, one thing that Pete told me about was they have this thing that looks like a raptor, like a dinosaur. It is all robotic. It's got red eyes, it's got metallic features with chrome and black. It looks incredibly fierce, it's incredibly badass. And these things would be very, very difficult for us to kill. Any of these robots move so fast that you could not shoot it because it will move its body to get out of the way of a bullet as the bullet is coming near. It works so quickly that it can see the bullet coming and it will just dodge out of the way. But with the raptor beings in particular, that's a psychological intimidation factor. You're seeing this weird robotic dinosaur coming towards you. Now I'm going to tell you something. This isn't exclusive. I don't think I've ever shared this before. One of the things he said to me that seems really hard to believe, and I'll admit that, but this is just part of the briefings you get, is that he claims he saw a filmed demonstration in which one of these raptors was able to be running down, and they put out a 50-gallon metallic drum. empty inside. The raptor ran towards the 50-gallon drum, jumps up into the air, and is able to lift the drum up into the air and time the ascent of the drum and itself and get it spinning. And as it rises the drum up into the air and gets it spinning really fast, it takes its claws and it literally shredded the entire can all the way down to the bottom so that all you get is this metallic spaghetti.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean these things, and you're shooting at it and it's just, and there's no way you can hit it. He did say some of the technology I'm about to tell you about, they've actually had apparently since the 1950s. They have these things that look like maple keys. And what's cool about a maple key, if it falls off a tree, is that it falls down and it looks like a little helicopter, right? I lived in upstate New York, we had maple trees, you'd see these things falling, and as a kid you really had fun with that. So what they figured out was that they could make these little metallic maple keys and then put a little piston inside with a little tiny engine. And the piston can get the maple key to work as like its own little self-propelled helicopter. The original idea behind these was surveillance. They could send these guys in with cameras on them, or originally maybe it was just audio. You can pilot where it goes, so the maple key can go through a keyhole, it can go underneath a doorway, it'll slip into a room, it'll stick itself on the wall, and then it can monitor what's going on inside. So that was the original idea, but then they figured out how to weaponize these things, as of course they always do, right? So what they've learned is that they can target the electromagnetism of your heart rate and have the maple key turn into a smart bullet. So if you're hiding in a room and you don't want to open the door, that maple key could be just spinning outside the door, right? And it's just hovering there, and as soon as you open the door, zoom, it just goes and shoots through your heart, and it's a kill shot immediately because it has that kind of power. It also can monitor its environment, do video, do audio, this kind of stuff. So now imagine that these robots have ports that open up on their shoulders, and these little gun turrets come out, okay? And the gun turrets shoot out these maple keys, and there's an assignment for each target. So each maple key is assigned to, let's say, one target. So no matter where, even if the Terminator is off doing something else, you can run, you can scream, hide, you know, it doesn't matter. That maple key's got your name on it, and it can run for, I don't know how long, probably a couple of days, hovering, waiting for you. So this stuff is why we really need to be careful about artificial intelligence, and why we don't want to let these things get made and get released on a large level. So it's a very good thing that our military has been extremely careful, extremely paranoid. They have extensively programmed these robots with ethical guidelines, and so they would only be deployed in the case of a foreign extraterrestrial invasion of the planet. So I've heard.
I have a quick question. I want to come back to something that I think is really, I thought of while you were mentioning this. So we have the Terminator movie, right? We have the Titanic, and we have Avatar, all directed by one man named James Cameron. Okay, you just mentioned that Terminator was a documentary. The Titanic, it seems, was a psyop to get people off the scent that J.P. Morgan started the Fed, because that's actually what happened. And then you have Avatar, which looks like it's this crazy off-planet you know, situation where who knows where he got briefed. Like, the question comes up, like, who, I know he's very talented, but who actually is James Cameron? I mean, this guy's building subsystems and going down into the depths of, you know, the ocean and exploring things no one else has explored. And it just, I don't know if you have any intel on this. I just thought it was very interesting that this one director is behind all of this.
Look, they're all basically documentaries. You know, The Abyss is talking about undersea extraterrestrial ships that they've found, bases that they've found, alternative types of life, alternative types of intelligence. Alien, you know, in the movie Aliens, the second one, Sigourney Weaver ends up in this robotic chassis that moves with her. Pete said that that is called a manipulator, and they use it again in Avatar. And in fact, Pete told me that he was dazzled when he saw Avatar because it's practically a laundry list of things that are real technology. And he's like, oh my God, that's real. Oh my God, that's real. Oh my God, I've seen that. Oh my God, I put my hands on that. Oh my God, I helped build that thing. So yeah, the manipulators, he said they saved a lot of money by actually using the real stuff instead of building it as a set for the movie.
No way.
Jeez. That's crazy.
That is totally
so
crazy.
some people watching this might just probably are thinking like, what is going on, you know? but really, I mean, as you're talking, this is something I've known as a kid, that the military, I mean, this was back in, in the 90s when I was growing up, that I heard from, and I can't remember who told me this, but there was actually somebody in the military that was telling me that the military is always at least 30 years ahead of, civilian technology. And I remember using a GPS for the first time, I think it was like either 99 or 2000, maybe 2001, somewhere there for the first time, and I was just blown away. And I kept thinking to myself, man, if we're using a GPS here as like a civilian, what the heck is the military using? To me, this is not that unbelievable, because the makers of the D-Wave system, I mean, the quantum computers are even stating that these computers are computing in a different dimension. I mean, that's how fast they work. They literally use a different dimension. And this is not just crazy people saying this. I mean, this is the makers coming out themselves, talking about how it works and everything.
I will note that actually we do work in parallel universes.
Well,
Do you really?
is that
Yes.
I'm going to go home and drop some acid.
We've also heard stories of people creating like very realistic robots in the 90s and all these different things. So to me, it's not that, I mean, to both of us, I would say it's not really that, doesn't sound that crazy. I think what makes it more real is the fact that because we don't know, it's the uncertainty of what could potentially happen. I mean, we have like iRobot on top of Terminator, and then all these other, AI disaster movies and everything, and giving any kind of possible scenario that could happen. And you have China that literally created Skynet. They named a company Skynet. So it's like, why would you do that?
Well, and then you have humans learning from movies and making something even more terrifying than Terminator by combining Jurassic Park with the Terminator and making a Raptor Terminator. And this stuff gets crazy.
Do you wonder?